Hi everyone, it's been a long time since my last video. I decided to take a little bit of time as I've been studying and researching I've been integrating a few things that have happened this year for me, which have been quite important. I feel that I am focusing more and more on specific things in my work, and I can see how much things have changed since I started my research into the spiritual field and the psychological field, even though my focus remains the emotional dimension of the self and how we can manifest our soul into our existence. One of the things that is becoming the foundation of my work is inner child work. What I've been discovering, especially through my researches and the work I've been doing with my clients, is how parts of the self gets to remain crystallized in time, and they can remain stuck for years, decades, without us even knowing that. This is something that intrigues me because we commonly think that very major events need to happen for us to go through trauma or something dysfunctional or something that can cause issues or problems in our lives. But actually, there are very little things that can happen during our life in which we can remain stuck for a very long time. And let me give you an example of that. When I was 15, I think, something like that, I remember recording my very first tracks, musical tracks. And I remember being so proud of myself, hearing my song for the first time, having my name on a CD for the very first time. And I was so excited to share this with my mom. So I went home, and I remember that my mom probably wasn't in a very good mood that day. I'm not sure what was going on with her, but I thought, okay, so we can, just listen to this and everything is going to be okay. But of all that happened that day that I do not remember, I remember my mom kind of listening to it, but not being particularly interested in it, and then saying, well, you're not even that good anyway. And that phrase stayed with me and still with me every time I get excited in sharing something I do, because I wonder if I think I'm better than what I actually am. Am I getting overexcited on something that actually is not really worth sharing anyway? So I had to learn how to bypass that thought, because the words my mum used on that day, it really impacted me on a very deep level. She probably doesn't even know that. She was probably having a bad day, or what I picked up on is that there was an element of competition. I think she perhaps have unconsciously falling into some jealousy dynamic, and she couldn't be joyful for me. And obviously, we can't call this trauma. It doesn't look like a big deal to some people. But I remember very much every time I get stuck on that thought, the same emotion and feeling surface, the disappointment, the feeling let down, the feeling of, for the first time, I'm doing something that is so meaningful to me, is so important to my soul, is something that I feel so proud of, and is just been destroyed. So this is how an inner child, even though I was a teenager at that time, get to be crystallized in time. Obviously, there was an episode, and perhaps there have been connection to other moments, perhaps previous to that very moment, that may be connected to the same feeling, which I'm not going to go to because it's quite a long process. But that itself can become a blocker in life. So this is why I've started focusing more and more on really trying to highlight these moments when specific beliefs were formed and specific emotions are still entangled within the self. This also helps us recognize specific patterns. So what happens is there's another part that steps in, which is the protector of the inner child that was her. And that protection is there to prevent us to experience that pain again, even though we obviously do, because we have to experience disappointment over and over again, or the emotions resurface over and over again. So how do we resolve that? So what I tend to do with my clients is make space for the inner child and also the protector to be allowed to have the feelings they have. So not to force it, not to insist, and not to suggest. So I want them to feel comfortable and to feel safe enough to open up and maybe share whatever is going on for them. Then there's a process of negotiation where we start looking at the purpose of that experience, what happened in that very moment, what part of the self remained crystallized, what emotions is not resolved, and also if there's still a need for protection right now. So if the inner child and the protector start to feel comfortable and start understanding that there's no longer need to protect right now because we are safe, we can express the self openly. Perhaps we can accept a little bit of criticism, or we can accept that, not everyone will be excited as us. Then we can start overcoming that fear. And also we can start nurturing another part of the self, which is more confident and is more focused on self-needs rather than external validation or projections. And when we start nurturing that part has the function of counterbalance the part of us that was hurt. Maybe these parts will still be there, but they will no longer interfere with your daily activity. You acknowledge it, but you'll be able to bypass it because you have a more mature, emotionally mature part of you. They will be able to say, okay, I see you, I hear you, but right now, this is not serving me. This is not helping me to get what I want. This is not helping me in moving forward with my life, in pursuing my goals. And that comes with a little bit of training and with a little bit of patience and understanding that this is how we get to attain emotional maturity through a process of embracing, accepting, acknowledging, listening, being patient, being vulnerable, being brave, and then making space for other things also to be there. And I hope this is helpful to you. I really would love you to share maybe your experience if there's a specific belief that you're struggling with and you can, you hear it or is interfering with your daily life. I think that sharing your own experience and perspective can help other people also understand that it's very common to have these parts of the self that remain crystallized in time. And our job is to nurture them, but also to help them grow. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know what you think. Please subscribe to my channel. It really, really helps my work. Maybe you want to like this video. Have a good day.